Hi, welcome to the PassioKnit Spinner Podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. And this is not going to be a normal episode this week. I was at the Edin Yarn Fest last weekend, and it's going to be my recap episode. So if you are interested in it, please stick around. If not, I'll talk to you next week. It's absolutely okay. So yeah, I went to Edin Yarn Fest, people. I did. And I didn't know myself until Thursday morning. So yeah, let's start in the beginning. I always wanted to go to the Edin Yarn Fest. As soon as I saw how many people are going to be there, I thought, oh, I would love to go there, but it's at the same weekend at Lake Constance. Then the Lake Constance meetup, which I've gone to, I think, for the past 9 times, and it's going to be my 10th. And so that was important. And it was not until Wednesday night that I realized it's not the same weekend, because Lake Constance is, this weekend. I'm going to leave in 2 days time. So yeah, I went to bed and was really, really sad and like, how stupid can one person be, really? I mean, check a calendar, you'll see. So I got up on Thursday in the morning. My kid was already off to Kita. I said goodbye to him, said have a nice day, I'll talk to you later. And I came down, my husband brought him to Kita. I came down, sat on the table and decided, you know what, I'm going to have coffee. So I made coffee and I was standing at the coffee maker like, this sucks. My husband came out and said, what's wrong? I said, oh, I'm so stupid. I didn't check the calendar. And he said, yeah, about that. Wait, I say I'm stupid and you say about that? What's going to come next? So he looked at me and said, I just checked. There's a flight. There would be a hotel room. You have a choice to make right now. Either you sit down and have breakfast with me and your dad, or you go have a shower, pack a bag, and leave. So I've never been to a different country all by myself. So I was standing there and anxiety kicked in. I was like, I really want to. I really, really want to, but I can't. I just cannot go. I'm too afraid that something's going to go wrong. And yeah. And then I just did it. I decided, okay, good. I'm going to have a shower. I'm going to tell my friend who's going to go that I will be there as well. So it was 8:45. I went in the shower. I packed a bag or, a suitcase with an extra duffel bag in it because yarn shopping. And I left my house at 10:15. It's a 2-hour drive to the airport and my plane left at 2. So I drove to the airport, got there at 12:15, which was, cutting it a bit close to go to the further out car park. So I had to park in the car park and right next to the terminal, which would come to bite me in the back when I came home. I'm going to talk about that later. And yeah, I was there. I dropped off my bags. I got to through security and I sat down to eat and I knit and I just couldn't believe it's going to happen. So I flew to Edinburgh and yeah, when I was there, I met my friend. In the plane, I met a friend. Her name is Gabi. She's a very nice girl. And my friend Ushi from my local knit group, she was already in Edinburgh because she had a different flight than me. So she had waited. And we took a bus to city center and there we were. Yeah, I found my hotel super quick because it was right across the street from the bus stop. And I got checked in there. The girl asked me why I was there. I told her it's for the Edin Yarn Fest. And she said, oh, there's another one here for the same festival. Maybe you can go together. And I just said, okay, it would be great. And didn't really think about it and went into my room, sat on the bed and was like, I can't believe I did this. I still cannot believe I did this. I flew to a different country all by myself. And so, yeah, I was there Thursday night, sitting in my room. We had originally planned to go out for dinner, Gabi, Ushi, and me, but we all were just so done that we decided to stay in. And I took out my iPad and discovered that I could watch Netflix So I started the series Once Upon a Time because I've always wanted to watch it and it just never was on. So yeah, I was sitting in bed knitting, watching Once Upon a Time, and getting excited about Friday when the fest was going to be happening. So on Friday morning, I got up, I went to breakfast, and I just thought, okay, she said there's someone else here. I'm going to out myself, and I just took out my knitting and I knit. And 10 minutes later, someone else walked in, beautiful knit shawl around the neck, and she said, "Oh, Edin Yarn Fest?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Are you all by yourself?" "Yeah." "Can I join you?" "Yeah." So she joined me, and yeah, I made a very new and very wonderful friend. Her name's Katrin. She's from Wales, and she was just amazing. So we sat there, had breakfast together, and she said, "You know, if you want, I'm here with a car. I can take you, but we're going to have to leave in 10 minutes. So I said, "Okay, sure, let's do that." And I was at the festival took place at the Edinburgh Corn Exchange. And we were there before 9 because she had an early pass. And I was there without anything. I didn't have a day ticket, nothing. But in the building was a cafe. And there were already, queues outside the door. They had 2 queues, one for people who already had a pass, one for those who needed a pass. And both queues were starting to fill before 9 o'clock. They open at 10. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm not going to stand around here. Why? I just went inside, sat down in a coffee, had a very nice talk to a very nice gentleman called Terry. We were both knitting our sock and decided to stay in until it's 10 o'clock because why? I mean, there will be enough yarn for me to buy when I get in half an hour later. So I was sitting there knitting, and I went out, I think, at 10 past 10. And the line was unbelievable. It's like a football field. At least people were queuing in both directions. And I just, okay, let's do this. I walked up the line for the people who had nothing. And I stood there. And about 10 minutes later, my friend Ushi walked by because her phone didn't work over there. So we had no way of communicating. But we found each other every time. It was amazing. Like we were 2 magnets who just meant to be together. And yeah, we went, we were in the building with all the booths at 11. You know, we got our wristband, got rid of our cloaks, and just went in at 11 o'clock. Amazing. And then, oh God, so much yarn, so many people. It was like crazy people. Like not crazy people, crazy amount of people. So many people. It was like, oof, I was totally flashed. And we had a walk around the booth before we bought stuff because I wanted to see everything. You know, like you want to see what you can buy before you start buying, because if you start buying here and you wanted something there and your money's gone, you're just screwed. So we did that. We walked around once, or we tried. There were corners in this building where you were shoved, you know, like sardines in a can. There were so many people there. But we managed. We walked around once, and we decided at right around 12:30 that we should go and have something to eat. So we did. There was like a big room there with seating areas, and we went there and had food, and then it was time for the podcaster meetup. And I decided, you know, I am a podcaster, so I'm gonna go. And I just hoped that someone would come up and say hi to me, because otherwise I would just sit there like a total weirdo. And I walked in the Blacker Yarns booth where the podcaster meetup took place, and Katrin was sitting there, and I said, oh, thank goodness there's someone I know, so I will not look like an idiot. And I sat next to her, and a very nice German girl, and I saw all these big name podcasters, you know, coming in the booth. And the only one I mastered to talk to, because it took quite a while for everyone around me to persuade me to go over and say hi, was Katie from the Inside Number 23 podcast. I went over and introduced myself and said hi, and Oh, that was a hard thing to do. But she was very nice, and I gave her a flyer of, my podcast, and then I just sat back down because I was, look, that's the only one I'm going to talk to. And I did not master it to get enough courage to talk to anyone else. So I did see the people from the Fruity Knitting podcast. They were on my flight, and she might think I'm the weirdest weirdo because I stared at her all the time because her knitwear is so amazing. And on the flight over, she was 2 rows in front of me. And when we got up, in Edinburgh, I just stared at her cardigan because it was so amazing. And I stared and looked and looked at all the different patterns. And then I realized that she was looking at me. And it was, oh God. Yeah, that kept happening all weekend, I kept staring at her knitwear and she kept seeing it. So I'm sorry. I'm not a stalker, I promise. I'm just weird. Yeah, I saw Nathan from the Sockmatician. I did not say hello because I just couldn't. I was too afraid. And then Erin from the Mama, she's Mama to Abigail on Instagram, and she has the Holland Handmade podcast. And we were sitting together. And we've been friends on Instagram forever, so it was amazing to meet her. And we were sitting there watching all those big, big, big podcasters getting surrounded by people. And it felt like high school all over. It really did. The cool kids who everyone wants to be friends with and just the other ones. So yeah, we were the other ones. But there were a lot of people who came up and said hi to me, which was amazing and very unexpected, But yeah, that was the podcaster meetup. And after that, we just went and bought some more stuff. And I bought a lot of stuff. I'm going to show it later. I'm just going to talk and then I'm going to show. So we left the Edin Yarn Fest after we had, more shopping, more sitting and knitting. We left at maybe 5:30. We went to a supermarket, got something to eat for dinner, and took the bus. Every one of us, Gabi, Ushi, and me, we all had to take a different bus. And we went back to our hotels, and I was just done. I was at my hotel at 6:30. And oh yeah, I did some more Once Upon a Time watching. I did some more knitting. And I ate, and I was glad that there was no noise around me because it was very loud. A lot of people. And I talked about this with Amber on Saturday. It's super hard for me because, although my English isn't bad, it's not my first language. So I always have to think in a different language and talk in a different language and listen to a different language. And it takes so much concentration that I just was done in the evenings. So on Saturday, I went back and did basically everything all over again. I went in with Katrin, was there way early, stood in line. I think this time I left at 9:45, and it wasn't bad at all on Saturday. I feel like there were less people on Saturday. My friend found me again, super easy. We went in and bought some more yarn. Of course we did. I talked to some more people. I met some more people. Then there was another podcaster meetup where again I went to. And again, some people came over and said hello. I didn't say hello to anyone. I just reintroduced myself to Katie, which is very weird in retrospective, but I did. And yeah, we left. We did a lot of sitting and knitting in the afternoon because it was just, we were so full, at a retreat like this, at a big festival like this with so much yarn and so much people, so many people. I feel like I don't want to buy stuff anymore at some point because I'm just so full. I cannot take anything new in anymore. So we were sitting there and knitting, and I managed to get into the Blacker Yarns booth and buy yarn. And I bought yarn for the Peeping Cow by Joji Locatelli. And I got 3 colors because, in my head, I was thinking 3-color cashmere cowl, which is by the same person and takes 3 colors. And I thought the peeping cowl, which is from the interpretations books, takes 3 colors as well. And then Gabi had bought the book and we looked in and I said, oh shit, I need a 4th color. And it was already 4:30 and at 5 they closed. So I ran to the Blacker Yarns booth again and bought a 4th color, hoping it would go with the ones that I already had. And I really wanted to cast that on in the evening because I had brought the needle case that I made for myself and that I stuffed with, the essentials. So yeah, like I said, we did some more sitting and knitting. And then we did the same thing. We went to the supermarket, got food, went back to the hotel, and I sat in bed, watched Once Upon a Time and knit because I was so done. It was very hard for me. It wasn't hard like it's a hard thing to do. It was just so much stuff to take in that I was done. But I had met Catherine again and we discovered that we both had Sunday off. So we decided to spend Sunday together and have a walk around Edinburgh. So we met up for breakfast on Sunday morning. And I don't know if you saw on Instagram, but someone lost her knitted penguin, which was supposed to be a birthday gift for her daughter. And she finished it on her way to Edinburgh. And I did see the penguin at the Blacker Yarns booth. It was on the floor and the lady next to me picked it up and put it on a table. So I did write to the Mason-Dixon people that I saw it in the Blacker Yarns booth, but I didn't know what happened. And my friend Catherine, she was the last one to leave the Blacker Yarns booth and it was still on the table. So she decided that she's going to take him and wait for someone to ask for it. And so she had already written the person who lost it that she got it. And we did take pictures all over Edinburgh with the penguin for the woman to give to her kid. So that was a fun thing to do. And I did knit a small scarf for the penguin. It was, Sunday we just walked around Edinburgh and it was great. It was really great. It was a lot of walking. I was almost dead when we arrived back at our hotel, but I finished. We went to the Elephant Cafe, which is the cafe where J.K. Rowling sat to write her first Harry Potter book. We had lunch there, and then we went to the graveyard that's right behind it, the Greyfriar graveyard. There's a grave, a very old one with, it's like a stone, but it's on the wall. I don't know what it's called, but it's a grave of Tom Riddle and his son Tom Riddle, and it's believed to be the inspiration for Voldemort's name, and it was amazing. And yeah, like I said, we walked around Edinburgh and had a wonderful time on Sunday, had lunch, and on our way back to the hotel, we grabbed stuff to eat for dinner and we sat together in the hotel and just talked and knit and had a wonderful time. And on Monday, I got back home, which, was not easy. I took the bus back to the airport, which was easy because it was stopping in front of the hotel. So I went back to the airport, got rid of my luggage, got through, saw Kristen and her husband from the Wool and Wine podcast. I saw her there a few times, just walking by, never said a word. And then I got into my flight and it was a bit delayed, which was bad because my connecting flight in Frankfurt did not have a lot of time. So I flew into Frankfurt and I had to run to my other gate, which was, far, far, far away. Frankfurt is a very big airport. And yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but if you've ever been to Frankfurt, I landed at the B gates and had to go to A. And it was a long walk, a very long walk. So I arrived in the plane. I was so out of breath and so sweaty that the first thing the purser who said hi to me in the plane, the first thing he said is, you want some water? That never happened to me before. So I entered the plane and got offered water, which I gladly took. And then I said to a guy in a suit, you know, like a businessman, and he was kind of disgusted by me, but yeah, I couldn't change it. I was so happy to make my connection. And then I came back to Munich, and of course, my suitcase did not make my connection. I kind of had a feeling about that, so I took my duffel bag with my yarn as a carry-on. And I just went to the baggage claim person, or, you know, whatever it's called. And I was so relaxed, and I said, oh yeah, you bring it. I'm good. It's okay. All the important things are here. So nah. I think he was very happy to have someone who's so relaxed about their suitcase not being here for a change, because most people I just think are not relaxed at all. And then I went to get my car, which I, like I said, had parked at the airport. And I took I put the ticket in the machine, and I almost had a heart attack. Parking there for 4 days and a few hours, which, you know, is 5 days in their counting system, cost almost 160 euros. You know how much yarn that is? Oh God, that was awful. But I was so happy to be home, and I just sat in my car and I drove back home and arrived here at 8:15. So, whew, it was such an amazing weekend. I met so many wonderful people. It was just really, really wonderful. And I'm very grateful that it did happen. I'm very thankful for my husband for kicking me in the butt and saying, you know what, you can do this, just go. And I did. And I'm going to do it again, because now I know that I can manage, you know, to go somewhere by myself. And also something my husband said, I'm quite glad that I did go by myself and that I only knew one of my friends was there, because I was forced to speak to new people. You know, if you go someplace with your whole knitting group, you'll stick together and you talk to your knitting group, but you will not get to know people. And I got to know a lot of people, and I made some new friends, and I'm very grateful for it, and it was just amazing. So yeah, that was a lot of talking. But that's my story about Edin Yarn Fest. And I'm going to show everything I bought now. Well, not. I'm going to show you my knitting first. So I did cast on a sock at Munich airport, and I did not take it out of my bag to knit on until I was in Frankfurt, because I had a very good book. Oh, where are they? They're here. And I knit on this pair of socks on the second plane and all over Edinburgh and on the fest and in my hotel room, and I finished them on Friday night. Did I? No, I finished them Saturday afternoon. That's it. So I knit this pair of socks for myself. I'm going to show them again in my next podcast and talk about them, because that's what I do. They were knit out of Diabolical yarn, and I love the yarn. I love how it pooled. I think they look amazing. But I have to say, the green in this, which is a very dark green, it rubbed off on my hands like crazy. I knit 2 rounds and you could already see a green line on my finger, you know, where the yarn was, and on all my fingertips that touched the knitting. It was really bad. I wanted to show these on the podcast before I washed them, because I'm very afraid that the brown, you know, this brown section will get discolored. I'm not very happy about that at all. But yeah, I knit these. I finished them Saturday afternoon while at the fest. And then I wanted to start my cowl. And I couldn't, because I did have a ton of needles with me, but I did not have one needle that would go with my cowl. Yeah. So I started a second sock instead. I had taken 2 of my wound skeins of yarn just with me, you know, to have them. So that's the second sock I started. It's also diabolical in the same base. That's a 10 cell base, and it's very nice. And I'm going to show them again, of course, in my real podcast. And these are from my husband. And this is also the yarn that I used to knit the scarf for the penguin, because I was too afraid to use this yarn because I was afraid that it would rub off, and the penguin was a natural color. So yeah, that's the knitting I did. I knit a whole pair of socks in my size and half a sock in my husband's size. I did finish the heel while still in Edinburgh. So that was it for the knitting. Now let's talk about yarn. I bought yarn. Lots of it. I'm going to show the blacker yarns first because I have started the cowl yesterday night. This is the start of the Peeping Cowl by Joji Locatelli, which is not what it's about. I'm going to show the colors. I got these 4 colors to knit it. It's Blacker Yarn Swan, Blacker Swan Falkland Island Wool. I do not have enough. The pattern calls for a bit more than I have, but I'm going to make it work. I'm not concerned at all. Yeah, so that's this yarn. It's really nice, very soft, and just gorgeous. Then I got now let me put this back in my knitting bag. I got this little tin from the Travel Knitter. This is her thing. I do have yarn from her in my stash that I used. I used some of her yarn, and I do have more of her yarn, so I didn't get yarn, but I got this little tin. And what it is it has stitch markers in it. I'm not sure if I can show them. You know, just these little, these ones, and a darning needle. So I thought that's a very handy thing to have. And now, everything else. Let's start. It all fits in here except for the fiber. So it's not too bad. It's a lot, but it's not too bad. Okay. I'm going to dump it on my table. I'm going to throw it back in the bag. I think that's the best way to do it. So, first off are some project bags. I did buy the Edin Yarn Fest project bag with their logo as a keepsake. Then I got a loop bag when I bought stuff at their shop. And I also got gifted this wonderful bag on Saturday. I was standing, like I said, in line to get in, and someone was walking up and down the line and just handing out these bags with a "Thanks for waiting in line, thank you for waiting in line." So I got one, and I really like it. I think it's beautiful. So yes, these are the bags. Nope, one more. I also bought this little Notions pouch bag thingy from Pink Hazel. This is her card. And what it is, it's a little bag where you can put in some DPNs or other needles and a scissors. But it also has a zipper compartment. So yeah, I just had to have this. I saw it, my friend Erin had gotten one, and I really liked it, so I got one as well. And I think we also have the same fabric, so that's the bag I bought. Now let's talk yarn. I'm just gonna grab stuff. I got 2 skeins of Hedgehog fibers. I'm not sure which booth they were in because Hedgehog fibers did not have their own booth. It was carried by someone else, and there were 2 colors of Hedgehog that I always wanted to have, and it's these 2. I got Fool's Gold and Oracle. Because like I said, I've always wanted these 2 colors, and they had them, so I got them. They are just the normal sock yarn 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon, both of them. So that's my hedgehog. Then I got yarn from the Knitting Goddess. I got the skein of sock yarn. It's a 75-25 superwash wool and nylon. And the wool is a mix of 45% BFL and 30% mixed British wool. I have no idea what that means, but it's very, very soft, actually. I really like it. So yeah, the Knitting Goddess and these beautiful colors. So that's the normal sock yarn. And I also got some yarn for a shawl from her, and it is BFL and Masham. 75% BFL, 25% Masham. And I got this set and this skein to go with it. And I'm going to knit some kind of 3-color trawl. No idea which one yet, because, you know, my third color is a very small one. But I will find a pattern. And this is a very nice yarn. Masham is not the softest fiber. It's like, if I have this in my head correctly, it's a lot like Wensleydale. So it's a very long wool, which is, you know, not super soft. But I like these yarns and I like the colors. So this is what I got from the Knitting Goddess. Then I got yarn from Ripples Crafts, which I've never heard of before. And this is a very sturdy yarn. It feels like opal or anything else, you know, any other German sock yarn. And I think she's the one who said that she does have a German base. So I got these 2 skeins from her. Ripples Crafts. It's 75-25 wool and nylon blend. And these are non-repeatable one-offs as well. So like always, when I go to a retreat or any other place where you can buy a lot of yarn, I always buy sock yarn. I got nothing that's not sock yarn or fingering weight. Then, oh no, it's not quite true. I got 2 skeins of Knit by Numbers from John Arbin, and that's, I think, a DK weight or sport weight. What is it? What are you? DK. It's a DK weight. So this is the yarn. It's a very nice green and a very dark purpley pinkish eggplant color. I want to use these for a colorwork cowl or colorwork hat. I'm not sure yet. But I kind of want to do more color work in my future. So I got these 2 skeins of Knit by Numbers. Then I got 1 skein of the Wool Kitchen. And this just, it screamed my name. I'm not sure why, but I love it. It's a glitter base with 75 merino, 20 nylon, 5 stellina. And like I said, it's from the Wool Kitchen. And yeah, I just love it. This is going to be socks for myself, I think. Then I got a skein of yarn from Cosmic Strings, and this was also a booth that had very different yarns. And I got this from her as well. So let's start with this one. Cosmic Strings sock yarn, superwash merino and nylon. This is her label. And at the same booth, I bought this skein of fine fish yarns. And most of the yarns I showed is something I've never had before. So actually everything I showed so far is something I haven't had before. I do have a skein of hedgehog, but I have not used it. But most of it is new to me yarn. And this is just gorgeous. I love it. So fine fish yarns. And this is an MCN. 80 merino, 10 nylon, and 10 cashmere. Then I got these two little skeins of yarn, and boy, were these expensive. There was no sign of little thingy that told you what they were price wise. So I just thought, yeah, it's 250 gram skeins. How much can they be? A lot. Let me say that. I think these two cost almost the exact, or even more. They cost more than my 2 skeins of hedgehog sock yarn. If I had known, I think I wouldn't have gotten them, but I like them. So I'm going to make something stripy with those. Possibly a cowl. It's Spin Cycle yarns dyed in the wool. And yeah, I got these 2 skeins, and they have to become something special because they were really expensive. So this yarn it's expensive stuff. Not quite sure why, actually, but okay. Then I went by the Easy Knits booth, and they did show on Instagram before and after, and they were quite sold out in the end. But I did get a skein of Deeply Wicked. And this yarn, when I came home, of course, I showed my husband and my father everything. And this skein made my father say, "Oh, that's fucking awesome." What? He totally said it. You know, he said the German equivalent. He said, "Der ist ja geil." Like, Papa? What? So yeah, I might knit a pair of socks for my dad with this. I'm not sure yet. And also, I got 2 mini skeins at Easy Knits. One that has a lot of blue, you know, so it can go in my son's blanket. And this one for my blanket. So that's it from Easy Knits. We're almost there. And then I got 2 of the sock buddies from La Bien-Aimée. Maybe. I do not speak French at all, so I'm just gonna assume that that's how it's said. And these were also very expensive. All her things were super expensive, I feel like. But I just like them so much. I had them in my hand on Friday and thought, you know what? No. And then I came back on Saturday and I just got both of them because I couldn't decide. And so they are 100 grams with 50 gram coordinates. And what I thought I would do is I'm going to knit a pair of socks, each, you know, with coordinating cuffs, heels, and toes. And then I'm going to switch the minis and knit basically these 2 together and these 2 together for 2 more pairs. So I'm going to do 2 normal pairs and 2 shorter pairs, and I will be able to make 4 pairs of socks out of these for myself. So that's what makes it worth. And also, they're just so pretty. I cannot wait to start knitting these. They might be the first thing to hop on my needles. Maybe I will take one of the sets with me to the Lake Constance meeting this weekend. And I have one more skein of yarn to show. And it is very special because it was a gift from lovely Sophie. She brought it with her. And when she gave it to me, she said, you know, I was thinking about what you might not have. And she's right. I never had a skein of this yarn before, and I look very forward to knit it. But I fear I'm going to lose it to my husband because he loves the colors. So here it is. It's my first skein of West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. I don't know. It has a BFL content, but I'm not sure of the colorway name. I don't care. It's gorgeous. And I'm going to make, like I said, possibly socks for my son and my husband out of this. So thank you so much, Sophie. I'm very, very grateful. and it feels really nice. I'm gonna knit this soon. Also, my friend Sadie said she had the exact same yarn and we're going to do a mini knit along. So yeah, that's my story about the Edin Yarn Fest. A very spontaneous trip of mine, but it was so worth it. I'm absolutely happy with everything I bought. I know I bought a lot, but I didn't buy a lot before this year. I really didn't. So I have no regrets at all. It was just an amazing trip, and I bought some non-fiber. Oh, my fiber. I bought some non-yarn stuff, of course, but I'm not going to show that. So I almost forgot about my fiber. I got a little bit of fiber because I feel like there wasn't a lot of fiber, and of the stuff that was there, nothing really spoke to me except for the things that I got. So yeah, I didn't get a lot of fiber, and I'm sorry for the crinkling, but it's just what it is. I got 200 grams of this super awesome alpaca blend from John Arbon Textiles. And it's so soft. I mean, it's alpaca. I love alpaca. I look much forward to spin this. Not gonna put it back. And then I got 2 bats at Spin City, UK. I'm not going to be able to open this bag, so I'm gonna just rip it open. And I'm not sure yet if I'm going to ply them together for a combo spin or not. So this is the first one that I got. It has a lot of Selena in it. And the other one is in this color with pink Selena in it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I should ply them together or not, because I think they will go great together and have a larger quantity, you know, to knit maybe a larger shawl. Because after seeing Catherine and all her beautiful shawls each day, I really want to make more shawls and wear them. So I have a lot of Selena that's stuck in the knot that I put in the back. So yeah, that's the fiber. That's all of the fiber I got. And this was in my suitcase. So that's the only stuff that I had packed in the suitcase. And all the yarn was in my carry-on. So yeah, now that was a lot of talking, a lot of showing things, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about my experience with the Edin Yarn Fest. And I want to, again, thank you to, no, let's start this sentence over. Thank you to everyone who came and said hello to me. I did put it out on Instagram that if people wanted to say hi, they really should, because I'm too afraid to. So yeah, once you know me, you will not believe it, but I cannot talk to people that I don't know. I'm just mortified. So yeah, it was a wonderful experience. I really want to go back next year, but next year I'm going to plan it a little bit ahead, you know, maybe 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm done. I'm going to stop talking because, you know, there's nothing really to talk about anymore. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will leave for my next retreat in 2 days. So I'm going to come back on Sunday. It's just a weekend trip. And I'm going to podcast on, I think on Monday, maybe, with a normal podcast, you know, showing everything and talking about stuff that I'm knitting on. Just normal. Go back to normal next week. Good. Now, I hope you all have a wonderful time. Enjoy everything you do. Bye.